door to the cottage she'd inherited after her Aunt Helen's death nearly 10 years ago. Kelly had returned to the city where she grew up in northern Colorado to settle her beloved aunt's financial affairs, and she was shocked to learn that her Aunt Helen had left Kelly the cottage and separate garage in her will. Kelly's father had moved around frequently when she was growing up, so the closest thing to a childhood home for Kelly was Uncle Jim's and Aunt Helen's farmhouse. They had raised sheep for a lifetime. Kelly still remembered how her uncle would sit in a small patio close by the front entry door to the farmhouse and watch over his large flocks. Unable to run the sheep farm alone, Helen had sold off the acreage that once held sheep pasture when Uncle Jim died. But she moved from the large farmhouse right across the driveway to a small, cozy cottage that sat on the edge of the pasture. The large farmhouse was sold to a real estate investor who rented the property to Helen's favorite yarn and fiber shop, Lambspun. Lambspun's owner, Mimi, needed room to grow her successful fiber shop, and the farmhouse was the perfect spot. Located on the corner of two streets on the east side of Fort Connor's Old Town, the 1930s beige stucco red tile roofed shop soon became the favorite of many of the area's fiber workers. Knitters, crocheters, spinners, and weavers were all welcomed. Shop owner Mimi was accomplished in all 4 of the popular fiber pursuits, so her regularly scheduled classes attracted a growing following. Kelly walked across the driveway separating the cottage from the knitting shop. But instead of heading toward the shop's front door, Kelly aimed for the patio that sat directly behind the Lambspun shop. Filled with spring and summer flowers, Kelly eyed the planters and gardens that Mimi and her Lambspun elves had planted all around the back patio. The outside patio tables were still populated with lunchtime customers of the popular Pete's Porch Cafe. She scanned the farthest tables and found one of her favorites was empty. Smaller than the rest, Kelly didn't feel bad occupying that back table and working outside in the beautiful spring weather. Cafe owner Pete had run the successful eatery ever since Kelly first stepped inside Lambspun. Waitress Jennifer was the first friend Kelly made when she first came to Fort Connor. She had walked across the driveway to her aunt's favorite yarn and fiber shop and stepped inside to an entirely new world. Kelly referred to the experience as falling down the rabbit hole. Once she stepped inside Lambspun, she found herself in a magical place of color and texture, an absolute treat for the senses. Kelly set her fiber briefcase bag onto the wrought iron patio table and settled into a matching outside chair. Shaded from the sun by the leaves of a large cottonwood tree in that corner of the outside patio, Kelly retrieved her laptop from the briefcase bag. Baby Jack was not playing soccer at the moment, so this was a good time to get a little accounting work done. She wanted to make sure all the client accounts were up to date once the baby was ready to come out and meet everyone. After working for several years in a big Washington, D.C. corporate accounting firm, Kelly moved back to Fort Connor after her aunt's death. Thanks to recommendations from friend, mentor, and advisor on all things ranching-related, Kurt Stackhouse, Kelly's practice now consisted of 2 very successful clients only. Arthur Hausman was a savvy real estate investor in Fort Connor and northern Colorado, and Don Warner was an equally successful and savvy real estate developer. Both men were delighted with having the experience and expertise of a corporate-level CPA at their service. Kelly popped open her laptop and was about to click on the accounting software when her best friend and cafe waitress Jennifer approached the table. "Hey there, girlfriend. What can I get you? And please don't say black coffee extra strong. Megan would smell it on your breath, and you don't want to anger Mighty Mouse." Kelly joined her friend's laughter. Oh, if Megan ever heard us say that nickname, she'd fuss at us for a week. "At least," Jennifer agreed. "Why don't you let me bring you a nice cup of black tea? Actually, why don't you bring me some of that Yorkshire tea that Mimi made for me yesterday? It's a poor substitute for coffee, but not as bad as all the others I've tried. It's actually drinkable." "Good heavens!" Jennifer exclaimed, wide-eyed. "Did you feel the earth move just now?"